The first person I knew who supported Donald Trump was my father. My entire family is racially diverse, and I believe the left-wing propaganda that Donald Trump was a racist. I let go of my fear of judgment, of being misunderstood, of getting attacked by the left, and I put the red hat on too.
So it's ironic that they were able to recruit this young woman.
So I don't want to say this black woman.
That was probably the most dangerous speak for the Democratic coalition.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and back to another video. So as you saw from the intro, it's gonna be a fun one today, guys, because we are going to be discussing just why the Democrat Party and liberals feel like they have a monopoly on people of color when it comes to voting and when it comes to politics, and why they think that we are just by default supposed to be Democrats and liberals and left-leaning, and that we must vote blue no matter who. And the moment we don't, we get scolded and we get in trouble. So I don't know if you guys have been watching the RNC this week. I have, and the first night, model Amber Rose shocked a lot of people when she showed up at the RNC and did a speech in favor of Donald Trump. Here's just a little bit of what she had to say.
My name is Amber Rose. I'm a model and entrepreneur, but most importantly, I'm a mother. My whole world revolves around providing for my children. But I'm here tonight to tell you, no matter your political background, that the best chance we have to give our babies a better life is to elect Donald Trump President of the United States. Now, you may be wondering why I'm up here telling you this. I'm no politician, and I don't want to be. But I do care about the truth. And the truth is that the media has lied to us about Donald Trump. I know this because for a long time I believed those lies, so I'm here to set the record straight. The first person I knew who supported Donald Trump was my father. I was shocked. My entire family is racially diverse, and I believed the left-wing propaganda that Donald Trump was a racist. My father said, "No, he's not, Amber. What are you talking about?" And when I insisted, he said, "Prove it." So to prove my father wrong, I did my research and looked into all things Donald Trump. I watched all the rallies, and I started meeting so many of you, his red hat wearing supporters. I realized Donald Trump and his supporters don't care if you're black, white, gay, or straight. It's all love. And that's when it hit me. These are my people. This is where I belong. I never felt more free and more love for my country than I do now. My message to you tonight comes from a humble place. The left told me to hate Trump, and even worse, to hate the other side, the people who support him. When you cut through the lies, you realize the truth. American families were better when Donald Trump was president. It's a vote to make America great again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, I definitely was not shocked to see her there because I have been watching online on the blogs, and it was already noted that she made a shift and was starting to become a Donald Trump supporter. And of course, like clockwork, people were not happy in the R&B hip hop community. They were pissed off, to be frank. Calling her a traitor, calling her a race baiter, calling her not really black, attacking her for being biracial, you know, just taking away her black card, doing all the things that liberals love to do whenever people of color think for themselves and don't just by default become a Democrat. They weren't happy. They weren't happy, and they've been attacking her left, right, and center for her views, for her opinions, and for her unapologetically being herself and saying, you know what? Donald Trump ain't too bad. They don't like that. You can't say that. You can't think for yourself. Not in this lifetime. So I was ready for her speech because I already knew where she stood, but I didn't know what she was going to say specifically. And I was pleasantly surprised and happy with what she had to say because I think she represents someone who a lot of people can relate to as far as their political journey. There have been a lot of people online that have been writing me saying, you know what, I used to be on the left. I used to hate Donald Trump. I used to believe the lies. I used to believe this. I used to believe that. And I'm starting to become more awakened, and I'm starting to realize that things aren't exactly as they seem. And I feel like the veil is being lifted from my eyes. But it's kind of scary because people around me are not going to be happy, and I don't really know how to navigate that. And that's exactly what's happening to her right now. Like, if you look at her resume and you look at her from the surface, you would think liberal, right? She has a tattoo on her forehead. Her past is very left-leaning, secular. You know, she used to do something called, I can't say it because I get demonetized, but the SLUT walk for women, which was a very liberal perspective of women's sexuality and liberation. And, you know, she was a model, she's done videos. She definitely was somebody who was entrenched in just leftist culture, pretty much. So for her to come out and say, I don't really rock with this anymore, people don't know what to do with that. They're upset and they are lashing out at her because she isn't following the script that you would expect her to follow on paper. On paper, you look at her and you say, oh, leftist, next. Hollywood girl, leftist, next. You know, liberal from Hollywood, voting blue, duh. And the fact that she is switching things and she's saying, no, I'm not gonna do that, actually. Sorry. People are upset. What I love most about her speech was the fact that she mentioned that, you know, her dad was voting for Donald Trump. And she was like, what are you doing? And in turn, he was like, no, what are you doing? Why don't you do some research and figure out exactly why you don't like him and think for yourself? And when she did that is when she started to actually realize that things weren't exactly as they seemed. And she gave Donald Trump no chance, not because she truly didn't believe in him, but because the liberal news media told her what to believe, what to say, what to think, and how to process this Hitler-like person. And so, like many of us, she bought it. Now she's not. And the reason why I respect her so much for doing this is because she's going to lose a lot as far as endorsements, as far as any projects that she had upcoming. Most likely, I guarantee you, if it hasn't already happened, it's going to be canceled. Because people on the left, specifically in Hollywood, do not rock with anybody who is right-leaning or who, God forbid, supports Donald Trump. So the idea of her coming out like this and speaking at the RNC, it's a big deal. So I respect her for, on such a global level and such a large platform, standing up for what she believes in. Because she could have secretly voted for Donald Trump, right? She could have secretly said, you know what, I don't like Biden, I'm not going to vote for him, but I'm not going to say anything because I want to lose my job, my money. And instead, she's like, no, I'm going to speak up and speak out, because it's too important not to. And of course, people are trying to invalidate her and say, oh, who cares what a former stripper thinks? Who cares what this girl thinks? She's a nobody. Who cares? Who cares? Well, clearly people care, because a lot of people are talking about it and a lot of people online are upset. And if you didn't really care what she thought, you wouldn't even care to be upset, right? So the fact that people have all of these emotions goes to show that they do care. And they know that she does have an influence. Listen to what Van Jones had to say about the potential influence that she may have by speaking at the RNC.
That was probably the most dangerous speak for the Democratic coalition. That is a young woman of color. She's describing the experience a lot of people have, feeling that maybe if you're around too many liberals, you might get criticized too much, or you might not be able to speak your mind. And she spoke to it really well. And she's way more famous than any of us up here. Yeah. I'm going to tell you that, way more famous. And so to the extent that these guys are trying to bust up our coalition, that was a bunker buster right there.
I mean, he said it, not me. He's scared. He knows, he understands the influence that may have on somebody who may be voting blue because they're told to, not really understanding why, and then coming across this video of Amber Rose speaking about her experience. And let's say somebody's watching, right, and they have the same experience as her, but they're too scared to say anything. They're too scared to step up. They're too scared to vote a different way. Watching her video may inspire them to stand up for themselves and say, you know what? Why can't I do the same thing? Why do I have to vote this way? Because you told me to? It's very, very powerful. And that's why people are upset about it. And people are trying to invalidate who she is. Like, of course, the lovely, and I say that sarcastically, the lovely Joy Reid of MSDNC, who tried to invalidate who this woman is as far as her race because she had the nerve to speak at the RNC. Watch this.
This is where the Republican Party is. So it's ironic that they were able to recruit this young woman who, you know, and she's a racially ambiguous. I don't want to say she's black because she has said she's not. So I don't want to say this black woman, this woman who is of whatever race that she has claimed. She said she's not black. But they brought somebody whose whole career is based in black culture. She used to be on a show on BET. That's the reason most people know who she is. She dated one of the most prominent African-American African rappers in the business, in the history of hip hop. So her whole culture came from black culture. And the fact that she is now the person they're using to try to recruit young people of color and to say that this is the person who is the endorser of Donald Trump who you should trust, when she won't even claim the culture that brought her to the table, I'm dubious that this will work. I don't know anyone who takes their political cues from Amber Rose, but just in case you do, you might want to duplicate doing your own research because she might not have done it thoroughly.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The fact that she spends a good 20 to 30 seconds repeatedly saying, you know, whatever race she is, I don't know what she is, what she identifies as, whatever she is. Amber's made it very clear that she is biracial. She is half white, she is half black. She is choosing not to pick one over the other, which is why she goes by biracial, because she is a biracial woman. What is wrong with that? Like I don't understand why that's an issue for people like Joy Reid, who want to control how another person identifies within her family and her ethnicity and her race. How about it's none of your business? How about her speaking at the RNC and giving her own testimony? How about respect the fact that it's her story, not yours? So you're telling me because she is a half white woman, that negates her from having any credibility? Because what Joy was pretty much trying to say is, if you're black, don't listen to her. Red flag, don't listen to her. She's biracial. Therefore, she has no credibility. And that's nonsense. That's nonsense because Amber Rose didn't speak on that stage representing black people. Amber Rose went on that stage representing herself. She is a woman that happens to be biracial. She is not a biracial woman. And that's the problem with the left, is your identity, as far as what you look like and your ethnicity, is the overall only thing that matters. It trumps everything else. So what you have to say, if it doesn't align with your race or your ethnicity or whatever box you're supposed to be in, then suddenly you don't have a leg to stand on. It's crazy to me. It's absolutely insane to me, this idea that you have to vote a certain way in order to have credibility. It's just, you have lost the argument when you have to go the route of a Joy Reid by attacking a woman for her self-identity. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. Look at some of these comments that Amber Rose has received online just for speaking her mind and revealing that she is not voting for Joe Biden.
Amber Pose, stay over there with the white peoples. We don't want you over here. Not like us.
Wow.
Just wait till she tries to come back to the other side. You're not black. Your white side took over.
Here's the thing. No matter what she says or does, the majority of the people there will never take her seriously. She's a pawn to them. She's being used. I'm more disappointed in the fact that she's allowing herself to be used once again.
You know what blows my mind about that type of analysis is the fact that they're assuming that just because she is a biracial woman speaking at the RNC, she must not be using her mind. She must not be smart enough to understand what she's doing. That has to be the greatest insult, as well as the most racist perspective to have, that a person of color must be a pawn to be speaking at the RNC, because heaven forbid they're actually using their own brain and their own mind and their own free will to be at the RNC supporting Donald Trump. It amazes me how entitled Democrats are when it comes to expecting the black and brown vote. And as you can see from this woman, she's a white liberal, a white savior liberal, which makes it even funnier that here she is trying to scold a biracial woman or a woman of color because she's deciding to speak for herself and use her own mind. And here this white woman is scolding her and telling her, you aren't allowed to do that. These white liberals who continuously speak down to people like myself and to people like Amber Rose for daring to use our own minds and our own free will. Talk about backwards. But you know who also is pissing off a whole lot of Democrats and liberals is Vivek Ramaswamy, who spoke at the RNC last night and, in my opinion, killed it.
I'd like to deliver a message that the media doesn't want you to hear from the Republican Party. Our message to black Americans is this: the media has tried to convince you for decades that Republicans don't care about your communities, but we do. We want for you what we want for every American: safe neighborhoods, clean streets, good jobs, a better life for your children, and a justice system that treats everyone equally, regardless of your skin color and regardless of your political beliefs. Our message to illegal immigrants is also this: we will return you to your country of origin, not because you're all bad people, but because you broke the law. and the United States of America was founded on the rule of law. And our message to Gen Z is this. You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative. It means we believe in merit, that you get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character.
Absolutely killed it. But of course, he is breaking the golden rule. He is a brown man speaking at the RNC, supporting Donald Trump. What is wrong with him? How dare he? How dare he step outside the box that liberals put him in? And how dare he have his own perspectives? How dare he? Watch CNN and their perspective of Vivek. And this was the headline online. CNN panelist drag Vivek Ramaswamy's RNC speech. Van Jones condemns his PSA to black Americans. I don't like the patronizing stuff to black folks. People act like we're dumb. You mean like Democrats? Watch this.
I don't believe his sincerity on anything. But he's very good at telling people who want to like him what they want to hear. And he's another one of these younger guys who is a very old person's idea of what they want young people to be like. And he's mastered that shtick, and I do think it's shtick.
He's a demagogue. I don't like the patronizing stuff about black folks. African Americans are one of the most politically sophisticated and engaged populations in the country. So when people act like we're dumb, we just somehow missed that there are people in the Republican Party who have been unfriendly, you just lose the audience from the door with that. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that he said that it just sounds like he's reading stuff out the Cracker Jack box that he thinks somebody's gonna like, but there's no prize in the bottom because it's all shallow to me and soulless, but that's just my view.
Wow. So because Vivek is a younger man who is an older millennial like myself, very articulate, is relatable to older people, and delivers a good speech, because of those three factors, next, according to that guy that was talking, if you are a person of color or a minority and you support Donald Trump, or you are a conservative, or you're talking at the RNC, you've lost all credibility. And the fact that Van Jones is so upset because Vivek had the nerve to address black voters at the RNC blows my mind, because first of all, it's the RNC, right? So the whole purpose is to galvanize support. The whole purpose is to speak to American citizens. And yes, those Americans happen to also be black people, Van Jones. Breaking news. So if Vivek wants to speak to a black audience and direct a message to them, why can't he? Why? Oh, because he's Republican, so can't talk to black people? Wow. And you know why Democrats don't do that? Because Democrats don't need to. Because Democrats expect black support. They don't actually earn it. They know that black Americans by default are going to vote blue, because that is just the way that it is right now. I think over 90% of black Americans vote blue. Something tells me a whole lot are voting blue because it's just by default what you're supposed to do. It was the way I grew up. When I grew up and I was younger, we were Democrats. Why? Because we're Hispanic. Because we live in the inner city. Because Republicans are racist. Those are the things that you're told. To me, that's brainwashing. And the reason why you're seeing this push and this wave of people who are starting to be awakened is because people are starting to realize that we've all been lied to. We've all been lied to. And the idea that Van Jones would be upset at Vivek for speaking to black Americans and to accuse him of talking down to black people because he's addressing them is ridiculous. So when Republicans don't address black people, they're racist. When they do address black people, they're racist. So which is it? So Republicans just aren't allowed to even talk about black people because Democrats own the black vote? Emphasis on own? Yeah, I said it. I think it's time for people to wake up and leave the plantation. Leave it for good. People like me, people like Vivek, people like Amber Rose are a threat to the Democrat Party, because we are speaking up, we are speaking out, and we have an audience, and they are scared of that. And they should be. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this video. What did you think of Amber Rose's speech? What did you think of Vivek's speech? What is your perspective on Republicans reaching out to minority voters? If you enjoy my content, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit my notification bell so you know when I post a brand new video. Until next time, peace.